Hey, Mike, how you doing? How's it going? Good girl, Megan. Good girl, hon. Good girl, hon. You're a good girl. Hey, James, what's happening? Hanging in there? That's good. That's all you can do. Hey, Patty, how are you? All right. Good for you. I had a pretty good day here today. A little cold. Good, Patty. Hanging in there. Just like Mike. Saw that pop on here for a sec. I'm not really big into the live chats, but I do go on here from time to time. Hey, Kmart Radio, how you doing? What's your channel doing, all right? Yeah, bored. That's why I pop on, Patty. Exactly it. Oh, no, James, no way. Absolutely no way. Yeah, I'm getting prepared for it. Lafayette, Coney Island, Mike. Lafayette, Coney Island. I think a good hot dog's an oxymoron. It's all nitrates and crap. They're terrible for you. That's why they got to slobber so much stuff on them, because nobody'd eat them. Some are better than others, but they're not good for you. I'm eating almond Hershey's Kisses. I get them by the bag because there's an almond in every one, not like the candy bar. They're good. This damn microphone is so sensitive. Yeah, they're absolutely terrible for you. I mean, it'd be nice to do an experiment if you just knew someone that had great genes and make them eat hot dogs every day of their life. They'd probably die at 35. Yeah, that's all I do, not too much. Shotgun, James, shotgun. That's true, Mike. And that also wasn't the last time you checked, James. It was way before that. Yeah, I don't hide it. Get out of there, hon. Yeah, that's kind of an old drug, Patty. Was it mainly depression or you have a hard time sleeping? I wouldn't say that, James. Yeah, there's probably better drugs than Zoloft than that. Have you tried mirtazapine? Prozac works for a lot of people. I mean, that's the thing. It takes so long to figure out what works. And even if you look at the better medications, and you look at blind studies, double-blind studies, even the better ones are pretty much on par with double-blind studies of placebos, which is scary. It isn't like if you have inflammation and you take something for inflammation and you take one pill and it goes away. It's just such a difficult thing to treat. Try Remeron, Patty. Remeron really works great. Now, Mel, I know you probably have good intentions, but you know, if you read, I've read a zillion books on psychiatric issues, and actually religion is criticized more than anything because people go and they talk to people of the cloth when they have a biochemical imbalance, and it actually makes them worse. It's really cheap, Patty. You can get it anywhere. You can get a bathtub full of it for $25, and it's in a, you can get it generic. I think you could get like 30 pills for like $6 or something like that. That's exactly right, Patty. That's true. Yeah, give that a try. And you can, like, part of the problem is sleep, which you think these people would catch on to sooner. And yeah, when you get good sleep, you'd be surprised how much that helps your mood. I'm not saying that's all of it, but that's a very cheap drug to experiment with, and you know right away if it's going to work or not. It's not one of these drugs like Prozac where they want you to be on it for 6 weeks. Yeah, there are pretty good studies that show that exercise does help, but yeah, willpower, that's a total myth. When people start talking about willpower or chronic depression, they just want to leave the room. Yeah, melatonin, I mean, if you look at double-blind studies of that, you know, tryptophan, all that stuff, if you've got real hardcore sleep problems, I doubt that melatonin would work. At least if your sleep problems are because of depression. Yeah, exercise helps. It sure does. Yeah. Hey, Ron, how you doing? I sure tried a bunch of things. You know, I'll tell you another thing, Patty. It's really cheap too. It's used off-label. It's called lamotrigine, Lamictal. Very cheap. Another super cheap medication, but it's kind of a mood stabilizer. They really don't know why it works. You can take just a little bit of it, and it kind of keeps you from getting those highs and lows. I'm not talking about bipolar highs and lows, but just like the happy one day, sad the next. And you can take just a little bit of it and notice a difference. Yeah, that's true. Caffeine's an issue. I've found though that once you get on track and you're on the right medication, that you know when you're trying to figure out what's going on, you're quitting caffeine, you're not eating certain foods, you're watching the detergent, you clean your clothes, and you're so goddamn desperate to get a good night's sleep that you're trying everything, gluten, all that bullshit, alcohol. But when you get back on track, I mean, I've found that caffeine didn't have anything to do with it once I got it under control. Yeah, Xanax works good, but it's a benzodiazepine. Doctors are reluctant to give it out, and it works quick. That's the good news. I forgot what the half-life is on Xanax because I never took it. Yeah, try that. Write that down, Patty. Lamictal. Lamotrigine is the same thing. And then Remeron, mirtazapine. 2 cheap, super effective drugs. Yeah, it's true, Mike. Yeah, that's why they're so addictive. Now, supposedly, Xanax, like all benzodiazepines, ruins your REM sleep, your deep sleep. Yeah, I'll tell you, that's true, Mike. When you're struggling to get a good night's sleep, you're trying to line up all the ducks as good as you can. But I found that when things are going well and I got on the right medication and I was doing pretty well, that routine thing, it didn't really matter that much. Yeah, Remeron, Remeron, that's one. And Lamictal, Lamyctal. Lamyctal. Lamictal. Yeah, Lamictal. It's also called lamotrigine. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Bible, but when you're chronically depressed, I think you're pissing in the wind. Like I said, that's one of the biggest critics of mental health treatment is people that go to see people of the cloth, religious related institutions, because they think they're going to pray it away. It's just nuts to think that way. Doesn't work that way. Yeah, Patty, real cheap too. You can get them anywhere. Go and look at the reviews for them. That's a nice thing. You can go on there and now look at all these drugs, not what they say they're going to do for you, but what actual people have experienced. And you'll find they get pretty good overall reviews. Yeah, that's sleep apnea, man. That's another thing, man. I mean, that's a whole another genre of medicine now. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I mean, it would make sense that if you didn't breathe right, you'd get crappy sleep, but this seems to be something that's really gotten popular over the last 15 years. I joke all the time. I have a buddy of mine, it's a doctor that owns a sleep clinic, and I always joke, does anybody ever get out of there that doesn't have a sleep issue? Good girl, Davey. So it's a trial and error. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's big business now. It's a chat board, God. Good girl. Good girl. It's all right. Good baby. Daisy hates it when I get on the computer. I mean, I highly recommend getting committed to a psychiatric hospital. You can take about 2 years of running to different doctors and trying different things and condense it down to 10 days. And by the time you get out of there, you know what works. Good girl. Oh, big time, Debbie. Huge. Yeah, sleep kind of deteriorates as you age anyway. It really does. That's the thing with this Remeron. I mean, I tried all that other shit, Ambien, all those clonazepam, lorazepam. They didn't do anything compared to this Remeron. I only take, like I said, 3.5 milligrams. And what's nice about it is you can go to bed when you want. If you're having sleep issues, it doesn't matter when you go to bed. You have a hard time falling asleep. But if I have to, before it was just a killer if I had to get up early the next day, because there was no way going to bed early would help. So I just stay up to my regular time and be exhausted the next day. Now, if I've got something to do, I can take half of one of those, go right to sleep, wake up 8 hours later and raring to go, just like I never had any problem at all. I mean, a restful, good sleep. Yeah, I listen to a fan a lot. I have a fan playing all the time. Yeah, I like listening to a fan. I leave a window open. You know, the colder the better too. A cool room, not warm. Yeah, I mean, you'll know it when it hits you, Patty. When you start getting good night's sleeps, you'll feel so much better. And you know, you can't catch up on sleep. People think they catch up like when they sleep in on the weekends. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, trazodone works as well. I took trazodone for a while. I thought it really worked well. I eventually figured out though it was the Remeron, which was the saving grace. Trazodone made me awful jittery. Remeron does a little bit too, but nothing like that. Hey Frankie, how you doing? You know, the only place I've ever saw where you could buy it was Walgreens, but they have time release melatonin. Yeah, check that out, Ron. Oh, good, Frankie. Glad you liked it. Yeah, Detroit's interesting. Really changing, man. Del Rey's basically all gone. Downtown's all redone, and the neighborhoods are basically the same. You know, Patty, I've never fooled around with any about that. There's somebody on here that comes on and talks quite a bit about it and swears by it, but I really don't know anything about it. We're just talking about different things, Al style. Yeah, I mean, I forgot who that is. Somebody, maybe it was Mark Abrams that came on, or Tim McGregor. Yeah, that's a tool rental place. They rent different kinds of tools. Yeah, everybody always thinks it's a low resolution camera. It's advertising for a tool rental place. I think what happens too on this camera, I think it's not focusing. It's right up against the glass. It's a lot grainier than it should be. Yeah, that's what everybody says. They think it's police lights. Northern Michigan, West Branch, Michigan. It's like about 2.5 hours north of Detroit. We don't get much crime up here. We don't get hardly any crime. Nobody locks their doors. Yeah, weren't those guys crazy, Ron? Still up there flying around. That was a nice air coupe. Usually they're not in that good a shape. Nah, even the health club I go to, we've got like 20 lockers. It's small. It's a weightlifting gym. Nobody ever locks their locker. Put their wallet in there, cash, a phone. Nobody ever locks their lockers. It's like that up here. No, I was always kind of like that, Brittany. I've been that way since I was a kid, actually. Hell, if they'd have had YouTube when I was younger, I'd have like 50,000 videos up. Always traveled all over. I'd go to Alaska. I've been all over Alaska, spend months out west. I took tons of 15,000-mile road trips. I've got photography up the yin yang. No, we don't have much crime here at all, James. Hardly any. Yeah, it's just different up here. You know, there's a lot of the people, the families that are still here. The roads are named after them, and the uncle's a judge, and the sheriff's a cousin, and the guy that runs the Tractor Supply is a nephew. That kind of thing. They did forget, Ron, but you know, it was partially my fault. When I ever pre-flighted an airplane, would always tell people, "Excuse me, but let me pre-flight this airplane, and then I'll talk to you." That's what happens when you're talking. It's the same thing that happens when people land with the gear up. They're talking with someone, they get distracted, they get out of the sequence, and bam, they forgot to put the wheels down. I like Detroit. I mean, I wish it well. It's improved. Downtown's a lot better. Delray is getting ready for a new infrastructure of a new international bridge. I think it's doing well, although I'm not so certain the long-term future of Detroit's going to be what people think it's going to be. You still haven't been able to attract middle-income people to the city. Tons of neighborhoods that are just trashed. Terrible public transportation system, ridiculously high taxes. Insurance is cost prohibitive, and it's still one of the most dangerous big cities to live in the country statistically. I mean, if you had kids, why in God's name would you move down there? They close an hour earlier now. The Walgreens up here about 6 months ago started closing at 9. Yeah, they just shut the lights down at 9. Now, if you can see that Rite Aid, you can't. You can see that little bright light off. The Rite Aid stays open till 10. I'll do that, Brittany. Drive around, check it out. Iowa. I've been all over Iowa. I did a ton of surveillance there for about 10 years. Yeah, it's going to be a good question. You know, there's a real pissing contest between the Marone family and the state of Michigan. So I'll be curious what will happen to the old Ambassador Bridge. I was always under the impression they were going to still use it. I mean, the state can't condemn it. I suppose Canada, who's paying for our side of the bridge, could reroute all the traffic, so it would be just too big of a hassle to get to the old bridge. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how that's going to turn out. No, well, Detroit's got its problems, but it's improving. I'll tell you that. I mean, when you're rock bottom in the ruin-porn capital of the world, I mean, it's hard to go anywhere but up. Yeah, it's just a sign. You know, it's not just that, though, James. It's Rust Belt cities in general. Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Toledo. They're just Cleveland. You know, once the old middle class started heading south, and I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Even like where I live, it was traditionally vacation homes, summer activities. Well, I'm kind of the age at the tail end of the baby boomers that had, you know, dispensable cash to where they'd have an up north home. Well, the younger crowd isn't doing that unless they're, you know, advanced degrees or professionals. Factory workers can't afford that any longer. So there's a whole group of people that aren't going to replace their parents or their grandparents. Yeah, you can. You can buy a house down there for 10 grand, but it's going to need a lot. Insurance is cost prohibitive, and your taxes are high compared to the value of the home. Yeah, true. You know, the banks, there's a lot of reimbursement the banks get through the federal government. I mean, there's an argument that they made more money than they ever did during the foreclosure crisis. I think that's believable. I mean, I know of instances where banks had foreclosed on properties and there were interested parties that wanted to buy them, and they sat vacant for 2 years before the bank auctioned them off for less than what was owed on them. It's just something's not adding up. Yeah, water bills are high as well. They're high up here. We have high water bills, crazy as it sounds, but I guess that was the mismanagement of the water treatment plant. No, I know, Chris. I've told you that the people that own the Tim Hortons up here, they're from Windsor, and they put on that blues concert up here. You know, Ted used to put it on in Windsor, and he was telling me that yeah, it's all boarded up on the Canadian side. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's a good question. I wonder how far you'd have to go to hit a well to hit water in Detroit. Up here, it's nothing to hit 250, 300 feet before you hit water. Yeah, that's what it is about here. 35 a month here. They used to bill us quarterly. It's higher than it should be. Oh, okay, Kentucky. Yeah, water is an issue everywhere now. Look at California. I don't think so, James. I think all the horse tracks have been shut down.
You've got mail.
I don't think there are any left. You know, casinos and internet gambling and all sorts of stuff replaced them. I'm pretty sure they're all gone. I could be wrong. There may be one. Yeah, AOL. You know, I dropped it for a year. I don't use it as my main email, but I miss the damn thing, to tell you the truth. And I had given it out on so many business cards. I still get an email or two a year from like marketing materials I handed out 15 years ago, so I kept it. I catch a lot of shit about my AOL account. Yeah, that lead in the water, you know, that was a big issue down in Flint, but that was mainly lead that was in the infrastructure piping from the river into the home. I mean, it happens on older homes. It's like that in Detroit as well. Oh, okay, Northville Downs is still open. Okay, so there is one. So there you go, James. Northville Downs. Is that scheduled to close, Ron? Oh, okay. There you go. And wasn't that something they disqualified that horse in the Kentucky Derby? I wonder if the bookies got to him. Yeah, no, isn't that the truth? Yeah. Michigan's got real water problems. I mean, and not in Detroit, and not in Flint. Rockford, Michigan, Oscoda, Michigan, up around Northville, Novi, Huron River. I mean, serious water problems. Crazy as it sounds, the Rouge is starting to look like one of the cleaner bodies of water. I'm not kidding you. That's it. Remember when radon was a big scare? All you got to do is put it on national news, and away it goes. Radon. Yeah, I think everything's a scam to some degree. Oh, really, Debbie? Huh? I mean, I don't know enough about that, but it sure seems suspicious. I was watching a couple of videos the other night. I'm not even into horse racing, but on Secretariat, that was pretty cool how that horse just blew everybody away. Just good genetics, good training, good jockey, everything came together. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I'm certainly suspicious of it. It's just like the playoff series in pro sports. You know, going to that seventh game, there's just so much more money in it. Oh, really, huh? Huh. Radon pipes. Oh shit. What's it next? I see old Doris Day died. I didn't even know she was alive, so I wasn't very upset. Oh, moneymaker, you know it. Yeah, it really is. So, I'd say Detroit, I mean, you can only go up from rock bottom, and I think that's where they're at. It's still fun to go down there. It's interesting. It's getting less interesting for me, to tell you the truth. I mean, if I had my wish, I hope everybody would get a brand new home and it'd look great. But I'm just not into videotaping neighborhoods that look great with brand new homes. It just doesn't interest me. It's not that I wished everybody lived in a crappy house. And mind you, now I'm not the only guy that's interested in it, because I don't think anybody watched these videos if they weren't interested in it. I mean, it's just kind of like shocking. I mean, Detroit in a lot of areas looks third world. Yeah, probably right. Global warming, safe from, yep. Yeah, I've never really been too much of a camper unless I could just go out in the middle of nowhere and set up a camp. I'd probably do that once every 30 years. Less than that, actually. But there are a lot of campgrounds up here, yeah. I hear people bitching about it a lot in the summer. You have to make a reservation for a lot of the campgrounds. The better ones like Traverse City, stuff like that. What do you want, Daisy? Huh? What do you want, honey? Are you hungry? You hungry, huh? You hungry, honey? There you go, hon. You're a good girl. I think you ate enough tonight, hon. I do have some good earth-shaking news, though. You know what I've really hit the old gold standard with in the last couple of weeks? Watermelons. I have had 3 great watermelons this early in the year. Actually, it's the front yard of a condominium. It's a fixed camera. It stays there all the time. It's not a camera that moves around. I'm not in a car jacking off. It's a fixed camera. That's why it's there all the time. And I'm sitting at a desk at a desktop computer. Yeah, I don't get up to Harrisville too much, Ron. It's a nice town, though. There's an orthopedic surgeon here from Harrisville. His parents were school teachers up there. Yeah, well, I wish they did have a chat board where the people could talk instead of type. I'd probably never do it if I had to type all the time. Yeah, people ask me, why am I sitting in a car all the time? I don't know what makes them think that. I mean, it doesn't look like a windshield to me. No, not really. I mean, sometimes I do. That's why I've been uploading so many videos. I've been doing a lot of marketing lately for this new business I'm starting. So what I'll do is, as long as I'm sitting here, I upload videos while I'm doing that, because then I can kind of keep an eye on them and pick a thumbnail and that kind of thing. Otherwise, you'd be lucky to get one a week or so. Hey Emma, how you doing? We get down there to Fort Wayne, take Emma out. Give her a good screwing in the back of my van. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Anthony. No problem, man. I'd be doing those videos anyway. I'm glad other people like to watch them. I'm gonna, Emma. Better believe it. You'll remember it too after I've been there, Emma. I'll tell you that. You'll regret it if you don't. It's overrated anyway. So I guess tomorrow's not supposed to be a pretty decent day. Ashley, where are you at? Where do you live? Yeah, I'll contact you, Brittany. Yeah, probably do. Emma. It's too bad you're not a guy and you could just watch porn instead. Oh, do you live in Rouge? Oh, no kidding, huh? I really like Rouge. Rouge has a rich history. Are you a resident of Rouge, Ashley? Are you a legal resident there, Ashley? Bellinger Park is great. I love that place. Yeah, you ever go down to Bellinger Park? Yeah, it's a beautiful little park. They just opened up an area near those Marina Towers in Detroit. It's really nice. Big, huge area where you can pull into your car. I took some video from there last week. Great view. It's like one of the better views I know of. I hope they leave it open, and I hope they pave that lot. Yeah, Rouge is a neat town. You ever go over to Allen Park, Ashley? It's a big speed trap, though, on Coolidge. Did you get a ticket from that cop sitting in that unmarked black Mustang yet? Yeah, I like going to Rouge. I eat that one restaurant once in a while. It's got that like American scene painted on the wall. If you told me the name of it, I'd remember it. Okay, go to that taco place over on Allen Road, north of Southfield. Taco Tangeria. Excellent. Best Mexican food you'll ever have. Really good. It's really good. Yeah, it's really excellent. So you know what I mean. Get the carne asada fries. Really good. You ever go down to Wyandotte? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I go through Rouge a lot. You ever go over to Zukin's Ribs in Lincoln Park up there on Dix? You think there'd be a lot more kick-ass? Hey, you ever get that barbecue from that guy on Schaefer, south of Fort, in front of the abandoned car wash? You ever go there, Ashley? That guy that sells ribs in front of the abandoned car wash on Schaefer? Yeah, I got an order of Zukin's ribs last time I was in Detroit about a week ago. I think they use cheap grade beef. They're not that good. Oh, well, I should no. What I meant to say is I got them at the Boneyard. I wish I had got Zukin's. Yeah, he makes good ribs. That's a guy and his relatives, and they come from Mount Clemens. They're there during the summer. I wouldn't recommend the ribs because he uses kind of a low grade meat, but I sure would like to get the recipe for his hot barbecue sauce. They're super nice people. Yeah, really, really good. Rather just get a red hot or something. Last weekend when I was in Detroit driving around doing stuff, I saw some people with set up like barbecue next to a party store. And I went over there and started talking to them. And I said, well, when are the ribs going to be ready? And they said, they won't be ready for an hour. And I said, well, how much is a hot dog? And she says, I've never charged for a hot dog. Long story short, I walked in the middle of a birthday party. They weren't even selling food. It was right next to a party store. It looked like they were selling ribs to me. I felt like an idiot. But they did sell me a Red Hot for $1.50. It was good. Yeah, Zukin's pretty good. Pat, you got to be getting some good ribs down where you live, don't you? Too small, huh? Yeah, you need to break out of that place. Come back and visit Detroit, where you go nuts. Oh, wow, an hour or two. That's crazy. Yeah, no, actually, you're in a good location there. You can still get good deals on a house. The prosecutor up here, her uncle just died. His house is for sale in Rouge over on Oak. I think they're asking $21,000 for it. Yeah, I like Greektown. It's getting too busy though, Patty. You gotta like park too far away. I mean, they could charge whatever they wanted for a good Greek dinner, but I'm not paying $20 to park. Hey, Virginia, what's up? No, that's not bad. Rouge is like the old days. You know, Rouge is my best example of blacks and whites living together. Looks like nobody gives a shit. It's like not an issue. Just been that way for 50 years that I know of. You go to that summer park party they have like in September on Rouge Fest or whatever they call it. Whites, blacks, men are having a good time. It's not at all like how they'd like to characterize Detroit. I've never experienced that racism bullshit in Detroit. Never. Hell, I walked in the middle of a birthday party and they sold me a hot dog. Yeah, I don't mind paying some, but I'm not paying $20. Yeah, they were going to change that, Ron. Is it still free in the Greektown parking garage? You know, they put that fencing around the top because people were jumping off, killing themselves from losing their ass at the casino. Do you know that? Yeah, Rouge Days. Rouge Days is a good time. I got a lot of videos up of Rouge Days, actually. They always have some really good bands there. Actually, do you know Marguerite, the lady on a lot of my videos? Do you know her? That family's from Rouge. Oh yeah, you're probably right then. Probably is Ron. Yeah. It's going to be nice when they get those parks fully opened up down there around like 23rd and south of West Fort. They're redoing all those parks, all brand new, everything. Yeah, it'll be a good time down there. But that area near the Marina Towers is just the best to sit and just watch boats. Oh, okay. Where'd you move from, Ashley? Oh, really? Yeah, it probably is. I'll take you there, Emma. Oh, Lincoln Park. Okay, so no wonder you know all about it. Lincoln Park used to be a happening place. When I was a kid, we would go get our school clothes at Sears, and you couldn't find a parking spot. It was so busy all weekend long in that giant parking lot. Now look, they tore it down. Sears is broke. Yeah, Lincoln Park was a happening place at one time. Okay, Felix, are you enjoying them? You like them? Yeah, it was cool. That was the biggest Sears store in the world. The biggest Sears store in the world. Yeah, they are sad. I know. Yeah, I told you, Patty. I left my American Express there one time. They pissed me off so bad I never went back. Yeah, old downriver. I'll tell you, the suburbs of Detroit were the place. It was the place to live for about 30 years. It really didn't last long, if you think about it. I mean, our middle class is falling apart at a rapid rate. Well, it's a good name for it, huh? I'm afraid to get ribs most places because they're usually so shitty. They're so damn expensive. There's nothing like a $24 order of shitty ribs. I'm not kidding you. I've ordered a rack of ribs before, taken a couple bites out of them, brought them out and opened the thing and let Daisy have at them. Just not good. Oh, the Rib Fest is next month, huh? Yeah, I'll check into that. Yeah, I might come down there, give you a good screwing in my van out in the parking lot. uh, I think that's the guy I got a video of, like drying his clothes a long time ago. I'm never down around there. I'm not down around Third too much, you know. Sleeps in the middle of a sidewalk down closer to Third. You're talking about Third in Detroit or Third in Rouge? Yeah, I'm afraid to gamble on it most of the time. Oh, good for you, Pay. Patty, really try that stuff. You have a hard time getting a hold of it, let me know. No, Outbacks, no, their ribs are ridiculously priced. They're not bad though. Yeah, the nice thing about that, Patty, is you don't need to, you know, try it forever like a lot of that stuff. You know, what kind of medication is it when you're trying to figure out if it's working or not? Well, it won't be that way with that Remeron. I'm telling you, it's a lifesaver for me, literally. Actually, when I got locked up, I talked them into keeping me 3 more days because everything that I went through, I just went through that. I thought there's no way in hell I want to get out of here and not be on something that I know is going to help. I'm glad that I did. And I haven't changed up one bit since I left. My 2-year anniversary is coming up. Yeah, they're a ripoff, Ron. I've been down to Memphis before to some of their rib fests, and absolutely fantastic. You know, just because you're out east doesn't mean you get the best seafood, or if you're down in California, the best Chinese in San Francisco. But I'll tell you, man, down in Memphis, that damn rib fest was everything it was cracked up to be. Just like 50 places that were absolutely killer ribs. It's just like that's why those Slows ribs in Detroit are bullshit. Here you're in Detroit, for God's sakes. You're at supposedly one of the better rib places around. You go into Slows, it's okay. I asked them for some hot sauce. I knew I was screwed when they handed me a bottle of Tabasco. I mean, come on, man. I'm in a rib house, for Christ's sakes, in Detroit. And you're giving me Tabasco when I ask for hot sauce? It's just like a Mexican restaurant. It's like, hey, you got any really good kick-ass hot sauce? And they hand you some 6 bottles that you just saw in your local grocery store. That's about it. That's about right, Patty. That's about right. About $12. That should be for good ribs. And face it, the sides are bullshit anyway. Because even if you got 2 sides, you get some bullshit coleslaw or some Texas toast. Not worth shit anyway. So if they've got enough balls to advertise $12 for a half slab and nothing with it, I would say they're good. Memphis places are great. Oh, okay. I mean, the sauce is everything in ribs. I like that dry rub, but the sauce can also be a good sign that they're bullshit ribs. If you've got really good ribs, quality ribs, and you cook them right, and they have dry rub, you don't need any of that sauce. Maybe a little bit on the side to dip it. But when you see those slabbed up, half charred slabs of ribs, not that they can't be good, but a lot of times they're bullshit. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I have people tell me that some of these packaged ribs that you buy, like at the grocery stores, are good, but they just never interested me. Yeah, dry rub. Yep, dry rub. It's really popular. If you go down to like that Memphis Rib Fest, half of the ribs will have dry rub on them. Yeah, you could do that, Virginia, but you'll get sick of it pretty quick. Everybody I know that did that, they do it for a couple of times. It's just like smoked fish. I like it. I like it about once a year. I'll buy some, love the first half of it, and end up throwing the other half out to the possum in the backyard. Yeah, shit, Ron. I wish I could tell you a great. Oh, there is a place in Greektown that has excellent ribs. It's the Red something. Excellent ribs. Can't think of the name of it. It's the Red something. It's on the same side as the Golden Fleece. You can't get good seafood anymore either. Even in Detroit. Yeah, you would. You would, Virginia. I'm not kidding you. And anybody that I ever know that worked in a restaurant, that got a free meal there, that was into barbecue, they'd end up ordering out someplace because they were so sick of barbecue so soon. I'll tell you another thing like that too. I know guys that have worked on ships out in California. Now, I'm not talking about the crab boats. I'm talking about ships that would catch crab. They were fucking around and they'd be fishing on their off time or something. They'd put crab pots up. They'd catch king crab. They say after about 3 days, you don't even want to look at a piece of king crab. Charles, I would say Memphis. That sounds too corny, but that's been my experience. Memphis. Atlanta has some good places. Yeah, it's true, Virginia. Yeah, seafood's really difficult to get. Those old clam bakes and all those kind of deals you'd see on the side of the road out in the East Coast now probably cost you $50 for lunch. Yeah, Virginia, you know that most Maine lobster actually is imported from Nova Scotia. Did you know that? I like to go into Faneuil Hall in Boston. When they were having those airline wars back in the early 80s, I would fly out to Boston just to get lunch. Be like $34 round trip. I'd go and eat about 4 lobster rolls and come home. Yeah, it'd be like a $35 round trip airfare. I'd take a cab, that was 15. I'd eat 4 lobster rolls at $8 each. And I'd fly home on the same day. Goddamn hotel room was like $300 a night. I never stayed. Yeah, red smoke barbecue, excellent. I think those are the best ribs I've had in Detroit. Yeah, lobster's a tricky one. I mean, you look at that bullshit they sell in Red Lobster now. That's more like some kind of bait. You know, they never call things like a shrimp. It's a shrimp nicks or a lobster nugget or a fish tackle. There's always some bullshit because it's ground up and pureed and mixed with God knows what just to keep it affordable. That's probably true, Virginia. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Yeah, lobster's too much work. That's why, I went to this meat shop here last weekend and got some good meats up in Houghton Lake. They had a huge counter of like 2-pound lobster tails for sale. 2-pound lobster tails. They were like $48. I almost bought one, but I thought, man, if this thing isn't that great, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, that can happen, Charles. That can happen. Yep, that can happen. Overrated. That's how it is in Detroit, the Slow's barbecue. I think it sucks. And even though it sounds like it's a great idea when you see guys on the side of the road or cooking them, that's a mixed bag as well. Most of the time, that's not that great. Yeah, it's true, Patty. King crab legs. I can remember when you could get the big ones. Now you can't get the big ones anymore. I will tell you, you guys like scallops? Oh, that'd be cool, Virginia. Yeah, I'd go for that. You guys like scallops? I'll tell you, do you have an Aldi's near you, Patty? An Aldi supermarket? They have some really good scallops there. It's $9.90 for a 12-ounce bag. Oh, an hour and a half. Yeah, forget that. See, another 20 minutes, I can be down to Detroit, Patty. I don't know how you stand it out there. Yeah, that'd be cool. $3 lobsters. It is a lot of work, though. You got that right. Ribs are a lot of work too. I mean, you wouldn't want to be out on a date eating ribs unless you were on your 30-year anniversary and you didn't give a shit. But if you were someone you just met, you wouldn't want to order ribs. Yeah, I got used to it. Isn't that the truth? Frog legs. I haven't seen frog legs on our menu, and jeez, I can't tell you the last time. No, Patty, you'll just end up eating something shitty because at least it's affordable. Yeah, Virginia, do you have an Aldi's near you? Go to Aldi's. Get the big ones. They're $9.90, I think, for a 12-ounce bag. They're good. They're flash frozen and sealed in plastic. Really good. I mean, I have no problem eating a whole bag of scallops when I cook them at home. I don't need anything else. Just cook those. Here you go to a restaurant, they'll give you 5 scallops and it'll be like $21. It's like, forget this. Pack a cooler. There you go. Yep. See, Pink Starburst, that's what I say. I had some great experiences in Memphis. Any of you guys ever been to Tunica, Mississippi? Down to the casinos? That's a good time. I spent a whole month there once. It's a good time, Tunica. Yeah, they're too expensive everywhere else. Scallops. Aldi's, that's a good deal. I mean, most of their stuff's a bunch of garbage, but that's good. You can get some of that good bourbon though, Patty, the Kentucky bourbon. Patty, look at it this way. At least you've got internet. Can you imagine if you didn't have internet there? Oh, good, Dave. Good for you. Is that your wife's choice or yours? Yeah. Well, you're lucky. If you're not a drinker by now, you'll never be. Oh, good. Yeah, if you guys are, do they have legalized gambling there in Kentucky, Patty? Oh, okay. How far is Louisville from you? Oh, wow, 3 hours. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be good. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, it's a trick a lot of the good restaurants use. They have that marinating down to a science. Oh, okay. Couple hours. Good. You do live in the sticks. You have any 24-hour party stores, convenience stores open, Patty? Oh, good for you, Dave. Oh, that's good, Dave. Oh, Speedway. Okay. Yeah, I believe that, Virginia. You know it. Age steaks, fantastic. I don't even know where you could get one. Somebody was telling me their grandfather used to age steaks. I don't know if that's possible because there's a mold issue, and I'm not sure how you safeguard against that. Not even the bars. Wow. Oh, did it? Yeah, it's expensive. They kill you for aged steaks if you can find them. Oh, Patty, my God. No wonder you're depressed. That's like solitary confinement. Yeah, it's the same up here. I don't think I couldn't stand that up here without internet. Do it, Dave. No, Gulfport's the very tip, the south. Tunica is a half hour from Memphis, north. Easy, we're not going to bed yet. We're not going to bed yet. Oh yeah, you know it, Patty. Better believe it. You probably tell people that live in that little town what it used to be like where you lived. They wouldn't believe it. I know. You're a good girl. Yeah, Gulfport's cool. Tunica and Alabama, those are two broke states. Mississippi and Alabama. There's a lot of insurance companies that won't write policies in the whole damn state. Yeah, right. Yeah, I believe it. That's why there's so much interest in the videos. The media's done a good job of selling it. Yeah, everywhere it's getting to be. Patty, do you have any uploaded videos? Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've got so many stills and video clips, and I've been doing a lot of marketing for this business I've been starting off. So it's easy for me to like start an upload that I can keep an eye on while I'm doing something else. You'll have to check those out, Patty. Hello. I'm all for them, Charles. I think it's the way to go. I believe in them. I get them. I would get them. Well, you thinking of getting one? Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Do you have a lot of subscribers? Yeah, there's always been a lot of debate on them. Yeah, I'm a believer in them. I've checked them all out. Oh, okay, Pat. You know, they give that papillomas virus vaccination to girls now when they're 12, 13 years old in school. Flu vaccinations. I say it's the way to go. What they don't do, I know, like on flu vaccinations, you know, you feel a little shitty because it's like getting the flu, just not as bad when you get the vaccination. I think they should warn people more about that. Anti-vaxxers. That's up to them. Personal decision. No, I don't doubt that. In what kind of way, Patty? Related to the vaccinations? Yeah, probably hit a nerve. Yep. Could have done a micro tear in the muscle. That's possible. Well, it is for the HPV vaccination, and there's some pretty good data on flu vaccinations. Well, it depends what's you can't vaccinate for all strains. So you're right, you can get the flu and have had a vaccination, but it's the wrong kind, but I get one. Yeah, I don't know about that, Charles. I never saw anything about that, and I read a lot about that kind of thing. Where now, Patty, you have any published information on that, or just crazy newspaper articles? Yeah, Grosh, yeah. Oh, no kidding, Robin. Wow. Well, I'm not saying they're perfect, and some people do have reactions, but if I had kids, I'd get them vaccinated. That's what I think. Crazy newspaper and the Inquirer. Yeah, I'm gonna get them. Gabby and Mike, what are you talking about with this interview? Yeah, gonna beat some down, Grosh Comics. Yep. Nice out today. Hey, Gabby and Mike, what are you talking about with this interview? A little mixed up here. Yeah, I'm the one. Yep. Yep, I'm the one. Yep. Superman. Yeah, I interview those women whenever I can. Interesting. Yeah, I like doing them, Patty. It's fun. I'll be getting a lot more because I got a hookup down there now. Yeah, they took down, YouTube took the good one down of girls injecting heroin. Bullshit, they took it down. Oh, thank you, lovely Sambos. Yeah, they're fun to talk to, man. I talk to them a lot when I'm not interviewing them. Not the interviews that I just did lately, but other times. Yeah, some have done really well. Cassie is doing the best. Yeah, that's what happened. Yep. They took it down. That's all right. I'm looking for another platform. I tried that Daily Motion, but it sucks. And Vimeo sucks. I mean, I understand censorship, but I mean, there's a lot of videos on YouTube of people injecting heroin. I mean, what's the big deal? I wasn't suggesting it was a good idea. Well, where do you live, Robin? No, Cassie asked me to take her videos down, so I did. Yep. Oh, those pilots, yeah, they're cool guys. Yeah, I'll check that Periscope out. You know, people suggest these other platforms, and I look into them, and then it's like bullshit. It's about like gaming and gardening or some shit. I need one where I can just load up whatever I feel like, and they're not going to do anything about it. I mean, shooting heroin's not that big a deal. It's a killer video, 25 minutes long. Super interesting, I think. Yeah, Virginia, I think you're right. I mean, they know that I got what's called street cred. When they were injecting heroin, they said that the reason they allowed me to do it is because they knew I'd taken all Tassie's videos down when she asked me to. It's a small world down there amongst the working women. Oh, St. Clair Shores, yeah. That's a speed trap. They sit there on 94 all the time. I like St. Clair Shores. Yeah, I mean, I wish there was some silver lining to these videos, but to be honest with you guys, I don't think there is. I don't think any young person looks at those videos and decides that they're not going to do heroin. That's why I don't make any claim to fame on anything coming out of it. People say that I bring awareness to it. I didn't go down there thinking that was my mantra. I mean, maybe people think that, but I think they're interesting to talk to. I hope they do well. If they need something, I help them out, and that's it. Yeah, maybe it does. I wish I had some like proof of where it deterred some people, but I'm not so sure that's ever going to happen. Big time, Gabby. Huge. YouTube's the worst. No, that's why I asked them at the beginning of the video that they know who I am and they know what I'm going to do with it. Hey, Sheila, how you doing? Sherry was asking about you last night. Oh, that's good. Weed and alcohol. Okay. Yeah. Subscribe, everybody. Subscribe to Lovely Sambo's Life. Sambo, you can put links in my videos to your channel if you want. I don't mind. I tell people anybody that wants to do that's welcome to do it. Anybody that has a channel, that has a friend that has a channel, you can put as many links as you want in all my videos if you want that they can click on and subscribe. Hey Wayne, how you doing? Good, Sheila. Oh, okay, Gabby, Mike, great. That's good. I mean, it's great that, I mean, I hope something could come out of it. What I hope is that I could just help them in some kind of way. I'm telling you, you know what's really odd is I don't know any more now about it. When I first started going down there, I think about this all the time. I can't even come up with heading in the right direction. I think it's just too big of a problem for someone like me. I mean, you've got think tanks, you've got universities all over the state. They can't come up with it. Medical professionals, what in the hell am I going to do? I mean, it doesn't keep me from hoping that maybe someday I can come up with something that'll work. But I mean, I don't want to bullshit people either. Oh, okay, I'll check that out, Robin. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I tell you, heroin, I can't think of a worse scenario than to get addicted to heroin. There's nothing worse than that. It just makes you give up on everything. You rob, you steal from your friends. You just sell yourself and you don't care the consequences. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. See, that's the biggest thing that I think of. There's such a disparity between being drug addicted and working the streets and getting to where everybody that isn't drug addicted would like to see them at. I mean, when you're doing what they're doing, you are so far away from having a car, an apartment, a house, credit cards. It's just so much easier to stay high and be hopeless. It's almost like they need some kind of mentor to be around all the time. Yeah, heroin, that's the worst thing ever. No, you can't try it once, that's for sure. Oh, you know, ruin their lives. Oh, wow, good for you, Sam. What were you on? Vicodin? Oxycontin? Yeah, I hope that would happen, Gabby. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Oh, okay. What were you paying for those on the street? And how did you have a successful rehab? Wow. Congratulations, Gabby, Mike. Good for you. It's hard to do. I hope you get a cardio workup here and there. Oh, okay, good, lovely Sam. Lovely Sambos, what made you decide to want to try to get off this stuff? What happened? Yeah, that's kind of what Patty Ann. That's what people say. Get away from the people that you hang around with. Yeah, I believe it, Robin. Yeah, yeah, very difficult to do. I mean, getting off it is 1,000 times harder than not trying it once. It's a bitch. Oh, okay. Wow. Now, did you, lovely Sambos, did you have a legitimate reason to get on him to begin with? Now, get a cardiac workup, Gabby and Mike. That's what I do. There's some pretty good published data on what that can do to your cardiovascular system. You should be aware of it and get it checked just to kind of get an idea where you're at. Some people handle it better than others. Oh, geez. Oh, okay, back pain, yeah. Well, Rush Limbaugh was addicted to Oxycontin. He was getting his maid to get him for him. Oh, okay. Oh, good for you, Robin. Good night, Lovey Sambos. Congratulations. No, that's all right, Robin. Yeah, that happens. Afraid to call the ambulance. Yep. Oh, wow. That's great, Charles. That's super. Oh, wow, Gammy. Wow. Yeah, it sucks you had to grow up in that environment. Huh. Wow, Virginia. Hey, Michael. How you doing? Yeah, that's self-medicating. I mean, that's what they claim it is. That's just such a vague definition of anything. Self-medicating. It's like when somebody tells me they're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, I know what they're talking about. When they tell me they're spiritual, I don't know what they're talking about. And that's kind of how self-medicating is. I mean, there's got to be happy people out there that just like drugs. I mean, it seems to connect some logic to why they do it to begin with. But I never really bought into that. I mean, when you go out and have a drink socially with someone, is that self-medicating? Or do you just want to like get a little buzz and have fun? I mean, where does it go from having a good time and wanting a couple beers to self-medicating? It's strange to me. Oh, really, Robin? Yeah, that might be right. Yeah. Spiritual shit. I had two druggy drinking parents, man, and I never really, took after them. But if you'd excuse me for a second, I have to get another beer. But Patty, I'm just having a beer. I'm not self-medicating. Yeah, that's what I usually drink too. Gabby, do you have do you guys have a channel driving around in your trucks? Yeah, that's probably true, Sandy. Yeah, I mean, is there anybody out there that just has a drink because they feel like a drink that doesn't have some kind of undercurrents of an issue or a problem? I mean, is everybody that's having a good time at a party self-medicating? All right, Michael, let me have it. Give it to me. Yeah, I like driving videos. I like watching them. Oh, that sucks. Why don't you do a YouTube one, Gabby and Mike? You don't party? Okay, that's all right. Yeah, I mean, I drink here and there. Like I'm drinking 2 beers tonight, but some nights I don't drink any. I never really connected my drinking to any problems. Didn't want to jeopardize the only fun I have. That's all right, Michael. Let me have it, man. I want to know these things. You can type it out in a response. You know, I'm not so sure how long you can write. You know, I graded Detroit on, you know, my biased take on it all. And I couldn't believe it that when I clicked to put it on the description of the video, it cut me off. I went over the character amount, and I don't really know what that is. So I don't know if it works that way with responses or just in the descriptions. You will not be enabling them with cash. Yeah, that's an opinion a lot of people have. I mean, like I say, I know that they use the money that I give them for to use drugs sometimes, but I also know that they have cell phones and they buy food and they have other things that they need. I'm not going to give them money with strings attached. I'm not naive enough to think that it doesn't buy drugs, but I'm not going to not give them. I'm not going to give them sandwiches instead of $20 bills, and I'm not going to give them clothes and soap and toothpaste when I know they need money more. Yeah, I mean, I think that's an extreme explanation for it, Patty. I've thought that before too. I've thought of that before. That's what I thought, Patty, but that's not why I gave him the money. I mean, I'm not using it as an excuse. Yeah, Gabby, you guys start your other channel up. Just post links on all my videos to your channel. That could jumpstart you maybe. Yeah, no, I know, Michael, but this isn't, you know, you can't compare, excuse me, you can't compare yourself to these people. I mean, you can, but that's just a subculture that, you know, I'm glad I'm not a part of. That's what I think, Patty. I mean, I'm going to give it to them no matter what. It's for their time. I'm not going to sit them down and hook them up to a lie detector test on what they're going to spend it on. Yeah, it is what it is, Virginia. Yep. Hey, it's not perfect. I know. It's not like I'm saying, hey, here's an extra $100. Maybe you can OD tonight. I mean, you know. Thank you, Patty. I mean, I wish the best for them. I really do. But, like, you know, I mean, there are plenty of people ahead of me that have tried to find a solution. And I think the likelihood of me coming up with something that's going to work is next to nothing. But Yeah, but Michael, I mean that's abstract, you know. It isn't that concise. I mean, you don't know when I give them the money what they do with it. And you can't say that they don't use the money that I give them to spend it on other things that I know they need. I've seen them buy food. I know I know they pay their cell phone bills. I mean, if three Johns are throwing in money and I'm throwing in money and it all gets mixed up, who knows what goes to what? I mean, I don't look at it that way. I think that's a stretch to think that money that I give them will facilitate their death. Yeah, Robin, that's a good argument. Paying them for their time. That's the way I look at it. I know it's not a perfect system. It's really not. And to be honest with you, if she said to me, "Hey, I'm going to take this $10 you gave me or $20 you gave me, and I'm going to go buy some," I'm going to tell you right now, Tom, that I'm going to go buy some heroin, I'd probably still give it to him. Not because I want him to do that, but because the agreement isn't hinged on what they do or don't do. Um, like Sandy said, I'm paying them for their time. That's true, Patty. They do have to eat. I'll tell you kind of a sweet story. You know, when Tassie asked me to take her videos down, I'll tell you, I paid Tassie twice as much as her videos made because, you know, my videos are limited because it's called restrictive content. Not that many advertisers want to have their ad pop up in the middle of one of my interviews. And I didn't want Tassie thinking that I was ripping her off. So I paid her twice as much as her videos made. And I guess I texted her later to ask some question. And she took the money and was going to have her nails done. Thought it was so sweet. That's true, Robin. Yeah, I'm not so sure what's going on with Maddie and her boyfriend. Somebody brought up a good point. He doesn't look like a guy that's been doing drugs for 10 years. He's actually not a bad looking guy. Yeah, that's another thing, Robin, I think about a lot. You know, I go down there, I wouldn't even think about treating them any other way. But people think I'm kind to them. I mean, I'm not like, you know, thinking I'm doing a service of treating them differently than I should. I just, I don't know. It's sad that people think like you would talk down to them or something. I love talking to them. There you go, Gabby. Oh, I believe that, Gabby and Mike. Yeah. I think it's much more complex than that, Michael. If you notice, I don't ask. I'm basically down there doing a Larry King vanilla interview. I'm not trying to cause trouble or an argument, just kind of like a snippet of their daily activities. Yeah, Rob, that's the way I look. You don't get that kind of honesty anywhere else. They're rock bottom and they're talking about it on film and they're just letting you know the score. Oh, way more genuine than regular people. You know, there have been a couple kooks that have come on these chat boards that I've basically told to hit the road because they're just so full of shit. I don't know why anybody would come on a chat like this and just have fun and exchange ideas and opinions and thoughts and then just try and impress people with bullshit. Lies. These are adults on here. It's not like it's teenage kids. Yeah, I mean, pimp, that's another thing, Michael. You got to define pimp. I mean, if a husband and wife are married and he sits home all day and she works and all he does is play video games and watch porn, is he her pimp? I mean, does the relationship dynamics change that much because one's in the sex industry involving illicit drugs and the other one's just a lazy guy that exploits his wife while she's the sole breadwinner? Yeah, I try to be neutral, you know. So, you know, Michael doesn't like this guy. Now, Michael, I'm gonna just go way out here, but let me guess why. First of all, I want to clarify this, and this is, and I knew this from day one, okay? And I knew it in other aspects of society, but I've never really had it as pronounced as I have since I've been doing these interviews with these women in Detroit. The good-looking ones get 10 times the attention that the non-good-looking ones do. Penny, every blue-eyed blonde, wanted to save her. Where could they write her? How could they help? This Miranda gets a lot of attention. Looks matter, and now it's Maddie. You know, Maddie's an attractive girl, and people seem to be very sensitive to how they perceive Maddie's living arrangement with this guy. And it's not uncommon for them to really want to get in this guy's ass, even though they're assuming that he may be her pimp. Oh, I'd love more success stories. I wish Cassie knows that I have an interest in getting an interview from her. I've never asked her. I'm not going to ask her. She's doing well. I text back and forth every once in a while. I'd love to get one, but she knows I'd like one. And I think if the time comes up, I've tried to talk these women into getting their own channels. Just skip me. I'd upload their videos for them. I would love to like have some success stories, but I found that the women that seem to get out of here and do well and go on to plan B, they don't want to be talking about it. They're happy they're gone. Oh yeah, there's some of these guys on these people that talk down to these women. I get pissed and defensive when people leave comments about them being hookers and whores, and I delete them all. You know, that's one downside about the internet. You know, I have people come on here demanding to know how much I gave them and stuff. You know, people just think because it's anonymous and you can come on here, they can just treat anybody any way they want. And I don't go for it. I mean, if anything, I'm kind of protected of those women. I don't want them talking down to them. Over half of them are deceased, Jason. Half of them. And that's in a 2-year period. No, I didn't see that click on Detroit thing. I'll look that up. Thank you. Yeah, leaving the area helps. Ah, sorry about that, Michael. Yeah, it can happen, man. It's you. What you get though in those interviews is a real deal. When over half of them are dead, and you can watch their videos when they were alive and talking about someday doing better, they're dead. And I know that the ones that I'm interviewing now, 50% of those women will be dead 2 years from now. Of the last group that I interviewed last week, it's the way it is. Yeah, it's everywhere, Patty. You're right. It's worldwide. You know what gets me is, you know, they're all over this trafficking bullshit. I'm not saying that that doesn't help, but you know this massage parlor that they busted down in Jupiter, Florida, with these rich guys, Kraft, the guy that owns the New England Patriots. I mean, here you got all-time crime in Florida, which is a fucking dump. And you've got law enforcement spending a month hiding cameras of guys getting jacked off and blown in a massage parlor. If I lived in that city, I would be in their ass so hard for doing that kind of stupid shit instead of going out and solving B&Es and significant crime. But, you know, they originally made that bust at that massage parlor under the ruse of human trafficking. And as it turned out, nobody's been charged. You know why? Because it had nothing to do with human trafficking. I know guys that own some massage parlors. And these Asian women come over on their own volition. It's a different culture. I'm not saying it's right. They had steak and lobster tails all the time. They lived at the place. They loved working there. They'd make a ton of money and go home. I never saw any textbook definition of sex trafficking going on. I think this is a whole new genre of criminal horseshit. That's how they shut down Craigslist. I'm not saying it never happens, but the days of just a good old horror house are over. It's turned into a political venue. See, but Michael, would you admit to thinking that Maddie is pretty, and that it's a shame that Maddie is in this situation, and that you think that this guy is part of the problem? Yeah, Angel, that was a tough one. Angel looked right into that camera and lied her ass off. But I don't care. I mean, I lie. Who doesn't? First of all, it was none of my business she had HIV. And she knows if she'd have told me all the truth at that time, I'd have probably never interviewed her again. It was a financial decision in her mind. I'm not saying that I get the straight scoop all the time. I know that I don't. Yeah.
You've got mail.
I believe that. Yeah, she was very good at it. Very, you wanted, you know, the bigger problem, Patty, is you wanted to believe her. She was a real charmer. This Mimi is the same way. Mimi's a well-spoken woman. Yeah, if you guys ever have had the chance of driving down 75, like maybe from a place up north, like where I live in Michigan, down to Florida, you know, for years, if you stayed at a hotel off I-75, you could look out your window any time of the night, you'd see vehicles circling the parking lots. Those are quadriplegics and paraplegics, a lot of the times, selling their pain medication to people. They basically get an unlimited supply. I learned this from 2 clerks in 2 different states. Yeah, thanks, Gabby and Mike. Start up a YouTube channel and just post your links on all my videos. Be interesting. Hey, Michael, you still there? Oh, okay, I'll check it out, Michael. Hey, Michael, do you feel any different for the women in pornography? No, Ryan, you don't have anything to worry about. There aren't that many abandoned buildings left. You want to be careful too. In the schools, those guards are all deputized. It's a misdemeanor to enter an unoccupied building in Detroit, so you can get arrested for it. You got to go to court and get arraigned and all that fucking bullshit. It's a pain in the ass. There aren't that many abandoned buildings left that you can view. The Packard plant has been off for about 3 years. The Fisher Body plant, the one that you'll see right at the I-75-94 split, the city went in there and had them weld all the doors shut, so you can't go up through the stairwells. Therefore, you can't inspect the building like you could at one time. The Southwest Hospital with the big portholes in the side, that's been gutted and the security is pretty stiff there now. So you're not going to have a problem filming around Detroit, but the abandoned buildings are pretty much locked up tight now. The safety tips, yeah, I do have a safety tip. When you go in, take a pen light and hold it low to the floor. You would be surprised how easy it is to see people walking inside a giant mega building when you're driving down the expressway. Just a little bit of light is very obvious. So you want to get a pen light, you want to hold it low, like down near your knees, and you want to really look at the floor to make sure you don't step through any open holes. There have been people killed over the years stepping through holes and falling down to another floor. That's all hard concrete. I mean, it's not a fun ride on the way down. And when you have a pen light, really casts a lot of light in a pitch dark building, so you can see really well. That would be my number one concern when you're walking around in there. Keep the light low so no one sees you from the outside, and watch very carefully where you go in front of you, and make sure you don't step down through a hole. Most of the buildings are all rebarred concrete, so it's not a structural issue. I did subscribe to it, Patty. It's not that big of a deal, no. I mean, do you think the women in pornography are under the same peril as Maddie is with her boyfriend? I mean, do you think any differently about that? Do you feel it's exploitive? It's happened, Ryan. I mean, I don't think it's easy to do, but I can see how it happens. Here's the problem. Over the years, all the motors and stuff have been stripped out, and most of those rectangle holes were from equipment that people had stolen. And it's all a light gray flooring. So if you don't see the shadows from the corners where the machine has been pulled out, it just looks like gray. And when you shine a light, if it's daylight, it's even worse. You see a hole, and that's gray too. So it's hard to see sometimes. But that pen light works wonders. Hey, Cindy. No, I have never seen a rat in an empty building, and I only ran into people once, and that was some white rappers filming a music video, and that was in the Fisher Body Plant. Their name's K-Free, K-F-R-E-E. It's heavy duty, hardcore rap. I think they're excellent, really. But other than that, you feel like $1 million when you're in one of those big giant buildings. You can hear a pin drop. Nobody's in there. There's no reason to be in there. And you can hear everything outside. It's beautiful. No, Patty, never. Not one time. Just those rappers. We had a hell of a nice conversation, to tell you the truth. Now, you want to wear, those plants aren't the kind of plants where you're going to be stepping on nails from a burned down home or something like that. It's reinforced structural concrete with rebar. You're not going to be stepping on too much shit that's going to come through a shoe. Just wear something comfortable. Hey, Cindy. But the good buildings you're not getting in there anymore. It's not happening. And like I said, you can still get nailed for a misdemeanor, which is, even though it's a low crime, it's still a pain in the ass. If you've got a misdemeanor on your record, you can't go over to Windsor, Ontario. You can't get into Canada from Michigan with a misdemeanor on your record. It's a pain in the ass. And if you're young and you're applying for jobs, they ask on practically every application, have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor or a felony? Well, if you've got to say, yeah, it sucks, and it's on your record for like ever, it's not worth it. That's true, Cindy. Yeah. So Ryan, just be careful. There are a lot of houses in Blight you can photograph, but the buildings, you're taking a chance. You go in that Packard building, you can get in there and actually look around while the guards are there. I wouldn't recommend it though. Just download my videos, the ones I've already done, and upload them on your channel. I don't give a shit. Yeah, that's the way I look at it, Cindy. Yeah, there are a few places that you need to worry about dust. The one is the American Motors building up on Plymouth Road on the west side of Detroit. That's all asbestos laying around there. Now, the good news is a lot of the roof is caved in, so there's a lot of water that's wet, and it's not like a bunch of dust that's flying around. It's not like it's dry, it's been damp. So you can get away without a mask, but it'd be a good idea. Yeah, Ryan, I would, man. I don't know of one big building that you're going to get into now, and you're going to get your ass handed to you if you get caught. Just go on the east side, go over to Brightmoor, go down around Delray, There's plenty of interesting photography down there to do without any risk, and you don't need to worry about getting arrested. Now, Michael, I never see him. I mean, that's more like a myth. It's like the boogeyman. And chances are they'd be just as scared of you as you would be of them. That's what I thought. I mean, people thought I was crazy going down to Detroit and going in those buildings. I'll tell you, man, it was a good. I never saw anybody. Oh, another thing too, Ryan, don't park your vehicle out in front of where you're going to go in and look around. You want to park some blocks down. You're a sitting duck there if they see a vehicle parked in front of a big abandoned building for the cops and for other people. I always parked quite a ways down, walked down to where I wanted to check out. Plus, it gave me a chance of getting out of there when it seemed to me like they were looking around. Yeah, your car parked right out in front of an empty building. They know what you're doing in there. Well, you know, there's a program you can get, Ryan, where you can download videos from YouTube. It's only $5 a month. You can download any of my videos. I'll give you consent to use them so YouTube doesn't give you any shit. I got a bunch of them on there you could use. All right, Michael, if it dies out, it's good talking to you. Yeah, use mine, Ryan. That'd be fine. I got tons of it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. If you're going to do something for like a, going to do a short film, you're welcome to use mine. You can, you know, as long as I give you consent, you can legally use it for whatever you want. I've got great ones of the Packard plant, Fisher Body plant, Community Hospital, and a bunch of others. And when you're doing it for a short film, I mean, they don't know where you got it. It doesn't really matter. They're just looking at cool shit. Yeah, I believe it, Robin. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd be more than willing to do that, Ryan. It's no problem. Be glad to see somebody else use it. That'd be cool. Yeah, pest control, that's a big business. You know, that Shay just contacted me a couple days ago. He just contacted me. Maybe it was yesterday. Seems like a nice guy. Yeah, it's fun, good talking. I like doing it. I'm not really into the chat stuff that much, you know. I got so many damn hobbies, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to get this new business started. So I've been sending out a lot of mailers and stuff like that. He said something about, hi, my name is Shay. I've got 5,000 videos like you do up, something like that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, great, you know, appreciate you checking in, that kind of thing. Yeah, it was yesterday or the day before. Good night, Cindy. Yeah, I mean, I know the guy. I watched a couple of his videos. Yeah, detective agency. Been doing a private detective agencies my whole life. Good night, Sydney. I've never seen a rat in Detroit, Patty, other than when I was interviewing Penny, somebody else noticed one. You know, in the buildings that I'm in, there was never any food. It's just concrete walls, so I never saw any animals in any of them. Not even birds. Yeah, rats are, you know, survivors are smart. Nothing for them to burrow under. Nothing for them to eat. I mean, there's 10,000 places they could squeak in and get something to eat, you know? Oh, bed bugs. Yeah, I got bit by a bed bug once about 10 years ago in Illinois. Yeah, no, those buildings I was in never saw rats, no. And by the time I got in them, you know, they had been unoccupied for a long time. So maybe the rats, there was something in there, they ate it and were long gone. Yeah, probably true, Virginia. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I watched a couple of those. They didn't really interest me that much. I like watching Forensic Files. I've watched every one probably 5 times. I like the first 48. And tonight I was watching American Greed. That's about it. Those are the only shows I like. I'm not really into the crime stuff like you think I would be. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Robin, now a lot of those chemicals used for pests are pretty toxic. Oh, okay, okay. Huh. Oh, cool. What's that, Sandra? West Branch, Michigan, Cali, Columbia. Michigan. Yeah, risky for health. Yeah, you're right. Yep. No, I never saw that movie, Ryan. Oh, okay. I'll check them out. Yep. Yeah, blood thinner. That's why antifreeze works so well. Except if regular pets eat it, it kills them. That's why they don't use it much. But you know, antifreeze tastes sweet to animals. It tastes like sugar, and you can kill a ton of rats for a very low price, as long as you can contain the antifreeze away from where other pets would be. It basically makes them internally bleed to death. Now I don't know what that microphone's so sensitive. I don't know what that is, Patty. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. There's been guys that have been locked up in federal prison because bald eagles ate whatever it was they were trying to poison, and then the bald eagles died. Bush pardoned a couple guys that had fairly lengthy federal prison sentences. Yeah, it is. Quiet, Daisy. Yeah, that's why today's pesticides are, they're such low concentrate. They make them just in case your cat does eat one of the dead rats or mice. It won't kill the cat. Hi, we're gonna go to bed soon. We're gonna go to bed soon. Yeah, right, Patty. Yep. That's good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. I know. We're gonna go there. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Oh, man, we have so many feral cats around here. All right, Patty. Good talking to you. Thanks. Yeah, they also eat 1 out of 10 birds, Robin. 1 out of 10 wild birds. Good night, Patty. Yeah, you're not kidding, Ryan. Peace out. Good night, Virginia Wolf. I'm gonna be going to bed myself pretty soon. No, Charles. No. Yep, that's true, Robin. Yep. Ugh, tired. Not like the old days, Ryan, but things have changed, It's not gonna be like its heyday. That's a pipe dream. It's Tom Tom Reed, Reed, 1956 at gmail.com. Hey Talon, how are you? Yep, snow's all gone. Yeah, 3 nice days. Yep, it's been nice. Yep, pretty nice. Where are you at now, Talon? Where are you going to be staying? You good girl, hon? You good girl? Yeah. Oh, Alberta, Canada. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I wouldn't say. I think everybody's been interesting. Not that many of them were crackheads I ever talked to. It was heroin. I don't think so, Talon, on Trump. No. 291, Rob. Charles Rob. Yeah, it's close. Well, I think I'm going to go to bed too, you guys. You guys can keep on chatting here if you want. I'll leave it on. Just shut it off when I get up in the morning. It's good chatting with you guys tonight. It's fun. Ryan, if you do that on that video, make sure you send me an email because YouTube will take it down. They'll give you a channel strike. You got to have permission. Like, be specific which ones you want to use. I wouldn't have you write anything, but it'll save you from bullshit down the road. Good talking to you, Robin. Thank you. Now, Michael, you sure you got it right? It's Tom, Tomreed, 1956 at gmail.com. And Reed is Reed. Because I didn't get that email yet, and I should have got it by now. See you, Mike. Thanks for checking in. Have a good night, Charles Rob. Michael, I didn't get that email yet, but I'll be looking for it. A leader. I'll have to do the conversion on that. Well, have a good night, you guys. I'll be on later this week. It's great chatting with you tonight. Thank you.